I think that that's the only thing that usually senior people miss every now and then, the focus or the challenge, like finding something challenging enough for someone to keep growing, even though they have been working on the same thing for 10 years. For example, in Jest, how do you get to, yeah, you need to inject yourself within the Jest framework so that you can get information from it. But we don't want to do it in a plugin way. We want to do it agnostic of being a plugin. So we really need to dig, yeah, we need to deep dive into how the modules work and how the compilation of the library work and everything. I mean, I think that there is no way for me to run away from monorepos. That's it. In PayPal, I lead the how is it called, from monorepo to micro apps. In Globo, I push admin to go from monorepo to micro apps. And when I thought that I was done, I arrived in Datadog where we have a very big monorepo for frontends.
Yeah, forget engineering management. Just read Terry Pratchett.
I mean, if you read guards, you get a very good example of how to manage a group of people that is very.
Yeah, that's true. Today's guest is Angel Paredes, an engineering manager at Datadog and previously a staff engineer and former colleague of mine at Glovo and a tech lead at PayPal. Angel helps scale global platforms from high-trust fintech to high-load delivery logistics. He's led front-end strategy, standardized tooling across massive monoreports, and built teams that ship with speed and impact. He's also deeply involved in the engineering community. He's a speaker at LedDev and CodeMotion Madrid, and he has a future talk about interviewing with the help of AI. So welcome, Angel. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. Super nice to see you after, I would say, a long year and a half since
Yeah, I
last
think so.
research
Yeah,
show.
yeah. You've also moved from Barcelona to Madrid. How's the move treating you?
I mean, I am originally from Madrid, so it's like going back home. So in a way, it's a
Mm,
good feeling. But I am going to Barcelona almost every 2 weeks. My partner lives there, so I am
okay.
visiting. So God knows, maybe I will come back to Barcelona at some point.
If you had to say which one do you prefer, Barcelona or Madrid?
I think that there are different things. I like Madrid because it's a slower pace for me because the city is bigger, hence you can relax. I also have my family friends, so I don't have to hustle on the day to day. But I really like the international atmosphere of Barcelona, right? Like everyone is just trying to make their life from zero. And I
Yeah,
think that
that's
that
true.
has an special, taste.
And if you had to compare the tech communities, which one do you think is better right now?
Barcelona, 100%. I believe Madrid is quite a conservative environment, mainly like all big consultories companies or consult firms.
Hmm.
I mean, Datadog is here. That's what we are trying to change in Madrid. But I mean, Barcelona is full of small startups. Relationship with university is quite good. So I think that the tech atmosphere is better in Barcelona.
Yeah, I think there are for sure more startups here, especially now with AI and stuff. I see a lot of them pop up, including my own. So that's really cool. But I feel like the big ones. I mean, when I moved to Glovo 5 years ago, I think there was this saying around that, oh, Barcelona is going to become the next London. It has the weather. Everyone wanted to build an office here, like Amazon, Apple, Meta, but that didn't happen. Of course, they have some small offices, some WeWorks here and there. I'm sure they have in every city, but I feel like Madrid, Amazon has a big office there. Datadog now has a big office there.
Yeah.
What's your?
So I think that Madrid is interesting business side, right? Even Glovo, they have the biggest office when it comes to account management. I believe that Microsoft also have quite some account management in Madrid. And I mean, is the capital, is 8 million people. That's 4 times what Barcelona is. So of course it's interesting, but I think that also the profiles that you see here is not the same. I don't know. It's not the same vibe. Like Barcelona maybe didn't get everything that they promise or wanted. I don't know what is the right focus, but I still think that when you want to attract talent that is up to move to South Europe,
Mhm.
because that's a market on its own. I think that then Barcelona wins by far. Madrid and Berlin maybe don't differ that much as Barcelona and the rest of Europe, right?
It was actually easy for us when we hired to convince people to move here. I think Barcelona is like a very desirable city to live in. So
Mhm.
that's a really good part. But let's move on to more engineering stuff. I'm really, really curious. Like, how did you become an engineer in the first place? What motivated you?
To be honest, I always call it that I am a person that suffers from not taking decisions. So when I was a student, basically, I think that I was a bit lost in high school, wanted to do something like art,
Mm.
but I have a degree on, I mean, my studies were in mathematics and physics. So they were like, no, you cannot go to art. It doesn't help my degree on that case. So I end up doing something that is called image and sound engineering.
Mm.
Image and sound engineering is part of telecommunications, so it's everything about data processing, acoustics, lenses, like it's more hardware, I would say,
Mhm.
or more like physical world. And while I was there, just start programming in in C. You cannot stop. So I think that I found a spot where I am comfortable actually doing something. So I find my ikigai, right? It's something
Mhm.
that I'm good at. I can make money out of it. And so I founded a small student club within University, Polytechnical University of Madrid, which was mainly a Mozilla ambassador and also Microsoft student partner. And from there, I don't know. I did my masters and everything, so I didn't start working until quite late. But because I was exploring what I really wanted to do, I started a master in physics, quantum physics, optics, light, and so on. And then I was like, who am I trying to lie to? I just enjoy creating things from zero. Yeah, physics sounds cool, but when when do you have this feeling down sometimes that you are doing something and you can just ultra focus on something? For me, that's programming, and that's when I jump from my studies to actually start working in a small company based in Sweden.
So your first job was in Sweden. Was the master's in Sweden or was it here in Madrid?
So it's complicated. I finished my bachelor's degree in Madrid with Erasmus in Sweden.
Okay,
And
Erasmus.
I started my master's in France. It was supposed to be a triple diploma, like Germany, Karlsruhe, Marseille in France, and Barcelona. And I didn't finish it, to be honest, and just went back to Stockholm, and I stayed there for almost 7 years. So yeah.
Working for the same company or did you have multiple?
No, I started in a small betting company called Cambi.
Mhm.
So it was my first job. We were taking care of computing odds for sports.
Okay.
So I remember that I finished almost when the US opened the betting market. So maybe I left too soon to milk the cow, but I left for a company that was called Isettle that was acquired by PayPal, and that's
Okay.
why I end up in PayPal.
Here in the first company and the second, were you doing front end, back end, a little bit of both, everything?
So in the first company, I was doing a bit of everything plus a bit of math, I would say.
Ah,
So
okay.
not very complicated, but enough to get the job done. And then when I moved to PayPal, I was more full stack, but mainly focused on front end because I discovered quite early that what I like is giving a final product touches and being able to care about the user. So I focus more on the front end, but I contributed to the full stack of PayPal.
Nice. And how long were you there?
So almost 3 years. I think that it didn't reach to 3 years, but yeah, close to that.
And then immediately to Glovo?
I got a break because I fall in depression. Like life happens.
Uh,
I was in Sweden since I started with an ex partner of mine.
Mhm.
And then when all that finished, you start feeling what are you doing with your life? So I couldn't work for several months. But yeah, actually, my brother lives in Barcelona, so I was visiting him, and Globo reached out to me through Stack Overflow, which is a very weird place to reach out to
Wow,
someone. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
very weird.
Kudos to Silvia Belmont for reaching out to me in Stack Overflow because I didn't expect it. And then I joined Globo. I must say that they lied to me on first day I was in Globo because I was supposed to do a bit of machine learning plus frontend, like play with that, and I only did frontend there.
You also became an engineering manager at Glovo, right? Before the
Yes, I was doing a bit of the engineer manager tech lead swing because when I joined, I was the only front end in the logistics area. I mean, you know this, but Globo has a lot of streams and clusters. Logistics was one of them. We had 50 people, 60 people, and I was the only one doing front end. And then what they needed was a manager for a team that was doing a POC on e-commerce
Mhm.
on Glovo. So yeah, I decided to leave that. But after a while, together with my move to Madrid, I started triggering some concerns around the admin platform and that
Mhm.
we needed someone to take care of it and so on. So we created the admin platform. And there I was tech lead, but I was the only or one of the few Glovo employees at that time in that team. So I ended up doing product manager and executing on my own. So yeah,
Okay, almost everything.
yeah, exactly. But always, I think that from that moment, I always thought that I like this part of leadership and technical direction.
I was just gonna ask, like, what made you go on this direction? Like, stop coding and just being a manager.
I didn't stop coding.
Not even now. You're still coding at
I
Datadog.
still code in Datadog. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite proud that I still do. I mainly do things in the front end because I'm faster, so I don't have to lose time. But as of late, I have also contributed a bit to the backend, which is fun. And Datadog is quite complicated in the backend in comparison with what I touched in Globo when I was doing things on the backend. But what I like is, I think that at some point you realize that most of the companies that grow enough, like I would say these, not the startups, because in a startup you do everything. I mean, you know that you are doing everything. But when it's using this scale up moment, then you need people that is the glue, right? People that is used coordinating or sharing information across teams, uh,
Yes.
and that's ownership. And I think that it took me a long time to realize that in the end, even if you influence, even if most of your work is about talking to the right people and triggering the right conversations, and I think that I realized that that's something I liked. I really pushed to try to get promoted to a staff engineer. I mean, the names just change in Globo, right? So
Yeah. So it's
that's why
level
now I can
five
be
or something,
considered a
right?
staff. Yeah, exactly. So I really tried to push to the next technical level without doing management, but I found it very blocking, very competitive in the sense of you sometimes need to step on someone else's work to get there. While being a manager, you get a team for free, and the impact that you can get is also very good, even though it's only focused on one area usually. And I think that that's what I'm missing from an EM, having a bit more area to spread without going too far from being technical or being hands-on.
So at Datadog, you have your own scope that you basically
Yeah.
manage.
In Datadog, I work for a team that is called Test Optimization. So we are all under the software delivery umbrella. It's not one of the most popular Datadog products, but we offer not only visibility over your test, we also perform changes in the behavior of your framework so that we can optimize it, right? Like avoiding flakiness, detecting flakiness. Also, like we are experimenting with changing how the test behaves so that we can reduce the duration of it and things like this. To be honest, I'm not sure where is the limit of NDA of what I'm saying, but hopefully everything is good.
I actually didn't know you had this product, honestly. So I think a lot of people will want to hear about it.
You know, it's curious because the last time I was in Globo was Web Platform, and Web
Yes.
Platform was doing an in-house tool for test visibility and test optimization. And I think that in Globo, I promised myself, I will never do again a product for testing. Well, I lied.
So is it only end-to-end test or is also unit test and multiple?
Unit test, integration test. I mean, anything that can produce test data,
Hmm.
we can run it, right? Rather, it's a framework like Jest or like PyTest or whatever.
Hmm.
But you can also, if you can generate a JUnit XML, we can consume it. We have some limitations, right, on the behavior that we can affect when a JUnit
Hmm.
XML. But and we have integrations with synthetics. If you have used the synthetics product,
No, no, I haven't.
that's end-to-end testing or pack testing, contract
Ah,
testing.
okay, okay. Ah, that's pretty cool. So you're framework agnostic, like you can use as any framework you want, or your
We need to
SDK is
create
specific?
integrations.
Okay.
So we have a whole team which we call the libraries team, and that's an special kind of engineer which is super specialized in one language. So then I don't know, for example, in Jest, how do you get to, yeah, you need to inject yourself within the Jest framework so that you can get information from it. But we don't want to do it in a plugin way. We want to do it agnostic of being a plugin. So we really need to dig, yeah, we need to deep dive into how the modules work and how the compilation of the library work and everything. So it's a bit more complex than plugins.
Interesting. And how big is your team?
So we are right now 8 people plus 7 people in libraries. So it's quite big. But I got a new, so now the libraries team has a engineering manager of its own.
Okay, so you still manage 8 people or seven?
Yeah, eight people.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. I have to say, like for me, I also manage 4 people, and it's four. It's too much. I would say, like
Yeah.
the and I try to keep meetings as short as possible, and I do bi-weekly one-on-ones, and then I have skip level meetings. But I don't know. It's for me the meeting side. It's too much.
Yeah. I start all the mornings with the phrase I say to my team, like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I just spend my time in meetings. But to be honest, I have weeklies with everyone in the team. So
Hmm.
not even by weekly. So that consumes quite a lot of time, even though we do half hours. We are flexible, right? So everyone can do their job. But I think that at some point also people start learning how to manage themselves.
That's true.
So you have to put much less pressure on it. Like when the senior your team, the more time you can focus
Yeah.
on giving them the right focus, because I think that that's the only thing that usually senior people miss every now and then, the focus or the challenge, like finding something challenging enough for someone to keep growing even though they have been working on the same thing for 10 years. That's
Hmm.
I think that that's very difficult, very difficult.
So it's basically you're trying to keep them motivated, maybe unblock them if they don't from other teams, what they need help.
Yeah, exactly. For me, the style is a mix of, I for sure I have to make sure everyone is aligned in what are we trying to do, and that's very important. And it's, some people give it for granted, but most of my time is just making sure everyone is aligned with the plan and thinking about the plan and see how can they be part of the plan and influence it. So it's not only the PM, it's also us. I mean, Datadog is a technical product.
Hmm.
Then the other part is, well, the people that is on the early stages is about growing. What are you missing? What is your toolbox right now? How can we help you keep growing? And then it's about keeping them motivated. Some people find themselves self motivation, but some
Hmm.
people really need to grow in scope or find something else, even if it means changing teams sometimes.
Yeah. I'm guessing they also want, to know how they're doing, maybe get promoted, more money, you know. So I think one question I always get asked by the people I'm managing is, especially junior developers, they don't know what they don't know. It's like I want to be better, but I don't know what should I learn. Like, how do you handle stuff like this? How do you move them into the right direction?
Maybe because really believe that our role has evolved more and more into the product engineering side more
Hmm.
than just being front end, back end, and so on. So I think that in the moment you feel that you are lacking tools to be able to contribute in any side of the product, that's an area that you can cover, right? And
Hmm.
discovering things that you don't know, I mean, if you're doing something very simple and I mean, that's it, then there is not motivation for you to learn something outside unless you watch talks or read your articles in LinkedIn. Dan, I really follow you in LinkedIn.
Thank
Every
you.
now and then I share something from you to my colleagues. But I think that then it's is that having many tools is a matter of experience, so being exposed to the right problems. So I don't know what I'm missing on project, like leading a project. Okay, let's find a project for you and let's figure it out together. I also don't know if you know it's natural, it's not natural. Now with the AI also it changed a lot how much it matters what you don't know or what you know, as long as you can, I don't know, troubleshoot and have a bit of an understanding of how things work together.
Mm.
So yeah, it's tricky and it's becoming trickier, but I think that we are in a good period for people that is learning.
Nice. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a pretty. We live in interesting times. Let's say that.
How do you motivate them, or what do you answer usually to this?
Well, I mostly focus on the person, like what are they doing. So if they're more front end focused, I try to look at the character. Like you said, like maybe some people are more extroverted and they like product, or some people are more introverted and they like technical low level stuff. And then I try to push them towards backend, so they do more full stack. In case that they are more extroverted, I try to push them more towards product, UI, data, like analytics, understand user behavior, stuff like that. This is my, I think with this is a biased opinion, but with the growth of AI so far, I think our roles as front and back end are going to shift into two directions. Either you go on the product side and you become like, you know how to do Figma, you know how to do product management, you know how to do front end a little bit there, you know how to do backend, DevOps. Like this is would be a full stack developer in the future. Or you're like this really good person, good developer that handles scale. Like you know how the issues with distributed systems and how to scale to 1 million users and stuff like that. Like more infrastructure development than actual development. I think coding is a little bit out of the way. I don't think we're gonna code in 5 years, to be honest.
I mean, I'm a bit sad because I like coding, but at the
Same,
same
same.
time, I'm excited. Something new will come, you know? Maybe we
Yeah.
can do some woodwork while we create features. So,
Raise chickens. Have the
exactly.
chickens use cursor. How do you use AI in Datadog, if I can ask?
So, well, recently we have the Dash. Dash is our big conference, like Google I/O, but for geeks and nerds of Datadog. They exist. They're there. There's a very big community. So we are internally, basically, we have bet a lot on everyone having access to tools like Cursor, Windsurf, and really push people to try it out because it will come sooner or later. These things will come to you, and you can be a negationist, but everything is moving towards that.
For sure.
So even if it means a regression in the speed, because of course now you have to deal with not only programming and delivering things, you have to deal with reviewing things, and sometimes it's trash. And I think that this has a name, right? Like the review or the factory burnout. I don't recall the exact term, which is these people that work in factories just checking an object. Yeah, good shape, ship. I think that's happening now.
I
But
think
so
so. Yeah.
far, I think that people is super engaged, creating their own rules for all this, or learning how to customize their environment so that they can be efficient with it. Also, we develop MCP servers so that we can start using Datadog information within this tooling. Of course, there is a lot of talk in creating more agents and how can agents make some job for us, like from refactors to security to whatever comes. So I really see that Datadog is pushing a lot in the direction of growing their engineers through enabling them to have AI tools.
Nice. I think for me, I made it a little bit mandatory for everyone to use cursor,
Mhm.
because you can set cursor rules, you can set, and we put those in the repo. So we have the architecture, everything written in README files. So Cursor has access to a really big context.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, one thing I found that works really, really well is when you have a monorepo, right? Like, and I know you worked in a really big monorepo in the admin side. How do you still feel about it?
I mean, I think that there is no way for me to run away from monorepos. That's it. In PayPal, I lead the how is it called, from monorepo to micro apps. In Globo, I push admin to go from monorepo to micro apps. And when I thought that I was done, I arrived in Datadog where we have a very big monorepo for frontend. So I don't know. Now with AI a bit better, but to be
Do
honest, the
do you
experience of
have
working in Datadog is amazing.
okay, that's cool. I remember an admin in Glovo. It was not that pleasant,
No,
to
no,
put
no.
it kindly.
No, I remember, I don't know. Also, in admin, we have this where build, well, composition API and options API were mixed
Mhm.
with our own flavor. I think that also in customer, right? With well, no, you couldn't have three because of Nax, but you could have
Yeah,
options.
we were in Vue 2, and we had our own mess inside middlewares in Nux 2.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I remember this article from this around Vue 3 shouldn't be. We shouldn't repeat this again.
yeah, I remember it got really viral. Evan actually responded to him. It
No, no,
was pretty funny.
I always tell to the people in my team, like, when you say something publicly, like this is not good, you better have the arguments because you never know who is coming behind.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Are you using Vue in Datadog or React?
No, no, like we're using React
Nice.
and
Nice.
we are quite updated. So I think that we are in 19 already. So
That's amazing. 19. That's cool. And are you using, is it like a Next project or is it pure React?
no, it's pure React. Of course, we have some serving, but for the main application is pure React.
Mhm.
It works quite well. We work with this like multi package setup, and that has reduced, for example, one of the issues that we often have is this TypeScript server trying to compute everything for a very big
Mhm.
monorepo. And I'm talking about a monorepo that can take you half an hour to download from GitHub. So
Okay. Wow.
it's heavy. Without the packages, it has been a pain to actually start the project or to make a change to then lint or check out what
Mhm.
has
Mhm.
happened. But we have worked a lot on it, and now I think that the developer experience is super good, super good. Like the best one I have ever had since I work.
Oh, amazing. That's really kind words. So is it like a micro front end inside of the monorepo? Each team has its own project, or is it just one app that you put?
So we have a carcass,
Mhm.
and the carcass is where we have also legacy views and everything, and then we have packages that are divided in types, like I don't know, components, API calls, these kinds of things, and
Mhm.
those one then we inject within the carcass.
Okay, I get it. So the packages are basically NPM packages.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. So you broke your app into really, really, I'm guessing a lot of packages. So the big app
Yeah,
doesn't have to render everything.
exactly. I mean, we have always to measure how many new packages you create or what is the right size of a package. But I think that this is a trade-off we will always see, right? How much do we generalize and how much we group, because every division has an orchestration cost as well.
Yeah,
So I think that we are still trying to find that balance into growing a package more or splitting it.
got it.
Do you use React in careers?
Yes. So we're using React. We're still at 18. I don't know. We haven't tried actually to migrate, but nothing is stopping us. I think we don't have
Yeah, that's
Next.
great. Go ahead.
We should just try it out. But it's been pretty good. I think that the project is still clean. We're using. I really like TanStack.
Mhm.
So we're using TanStack Router, TanStack Query, everything we can get from that package. It's actually pretty cool. we are now starting, we want to, because we offer different products, so it's one main application, but you have like a resume builder, cover, like an events, a scheduler, stuff like that for students to use, and we want each of these products to build like a micro front end, because right now it kind of blocks us from releasing, because it's also a monorepo, and we want each team to release independently. And right now we have to ask for permission. Hey, is everyone ready? Is the trunk clean? We don't have CI/CD. I mean, everything goes to main in a CI/CD flow, but we push a button to, like we did at Glovo, every couple of days.
Yeah, I can imagine this scene like everyone in the team has a key, and then all of you insert the key at the same time, and it gets deployed to production or something like that.
Yeah.
What is your strategy to get these micro front ends working?
I haven't looked into it. I really like the idea of using iframes. I talked to a couple of people from around Barcelona at the meetups, and I feel like this is a popular for federal module. What's it called? Yeah, federal module.
Modular Federation.
Modular federation. Modular federation. Yeah, yeah. I think one of these two. I have to test them out, create a POC. But yeah, I feel like the iframes would work better because we can actually host it on a subdomain. That way, we can also give access only to that product if needed. I don't know, different ideas.
Yeah. Is Portalware supported like HTML portals instead of iframes?
To create portals now instead of iframes.
Yeah, exactly. Like because that's nice for navigation and for like transitions between pages and so on the portal. Because
We
then you
can
can
do
switch
that.
application, mainframe of application, and still have access. But I don't know how is it security wise. You will figure out.
I think the good part about iframes is that you can inject in, and the bad part is you have to inject in the router so the iframe can control the page. But I think Module Federation handles this nicely, and it's also been tested for a couple of years. It's pretty secure. Yeah, we'll see. It's not urgent for us right now, but yeah.
How many employees do you have?
9.
Okay, it's growing.
It's growing. We're 11 in tech. 11 in tech and like 17 go to market, let's say.
I mean, I remember when you switched to Carreros, and I think that that was quite interesting. Like, okay, he's going all in. I don't know. I
Yeah,
really enjoy your path, like from that talk that you gave in the Vue.js satellite conference to, I don't know, going to Kansas, and see the Kansas Chiefs. That's the.
yeah. It was cool. It was cool. I really like this. I'm actually happy that you helped me talk at that first conference at Glovo, because it's been such a nice journey, like speaking, and you like it as well, right? It's cool.
Yeah, I'm sad that I didn't dedicate enough time in these last years to it because I don't know priorities in life.
Mhm.
But this last year, I'm trying to recover everything I missed.
For me, I started speaking at conferences. I think the biggest part was that I was scared of public speaking, and it forced me to get out of my comfort zone and go on stage. And actually, it made me a better manager and team person, because now I speak my mind a little bit in meetings. Before, I was like, oh, should I say something? I was very nervous, even if it was like 4 or 5 people inside of the meeting. But now I'm more comfortable speaking. What made you like go on stage?
To be honest, I think that I'm terrified on going on stages. Little by little, I have always end up in one, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't know, in global with the hackathons, or I don't know. I think that I have good social skills, so people have pushed me like, no, no, just talk about this. You can convince, and it's like at some point you also feel a faker in a way, like I'm just saying something that everyone knows, and I think that that's the misconception. Like not everyone knows, and that's why it's interesting that you do it.
Yeah.
And then it's about finding your style. And I don't know, I like joking. I like being in a relaxed environment. And I think that talks really gives you that power of communicating something that you want to say because you're passionate about it. And um, with this mix of fun but informational, I don't know. How do you do it? Like, how do you remove those nerves to actually use speak out your mind?
Well, now I don't get that much nervous anymore, except in the day of the talk. So previously, like before my first talk, I was nervous for 3 months. Like not actually 3 months, but like a month. When we planned, I knew, oh my God, a month. and I didn't do the presentation. I was super scared. But now, before the going on stage, I'm no longer nervous. I'm nervous an hour before, and then I'm just like in the zone, and I don't know. As soon as it starts and I see the lights in front of me, I just I don't even remember sometimes. You know, like you black out during the talk, and I would just wake up from for the applause.
Exactly. You say thank you, everyone starts like, yes, you got it. Yeah, I think that is traumatic in a way, like it's
Yeah,
done. That's it. Like driving.
like driving, exactly, like driving. I was super nervous when I actually got my driver's license very late, like 6 years ago. So I
Okay.
was super nervous, like driving, like, oh my God, I don't want to crash. But now I'm so relaxed and
Exactly.
it's such a pleasure. So your talks are about interviewing. Let's get to that. What do you think is gonna change now? What's your main points?
I cannot spoil the lead dev
Okay,
talk.
don't spoil
No,
this.
just kidding, just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I always enjoy this about interviews. In PayPal, I have been involved with interviews in Glovo. I have been involved
Mhm,
with interviews in Datadog. I'm again involved with interviews. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I know more than the average person about interviews. So what I am going towards is like, I think that we started using interviews as a recipe, right? Like someone gives you a rubric, someone
mhm,
gives you a problem, and you use check boxes, put comments. If you have a good interviewer, they may try to dig in the areas where it's a bit more shady, or they can redirect things, or they can improvise a bit more during the interview. But I think that this is changing, right? For this very same thing we are talking about, people is learning in other ways, people is solving problems in a different way, right? Like
mhm.
knowing algorithms any longer, I don't know, ChatGPT, or that was quite Spanish, ChatGPT,
Just have it.
sorry, could resolve most of the algorithm problems
A
faster than me,
second.
much faster, and without having to debug that much or debugging very fast. So what I was like, okay, what are the skills that still matters as an engineer? Because that's the right question, right? Why
Mhm,
do we need a person, and what does a person bring to a tech company that is not only something that a AI could do, right? And I think that
mhm,
that was always the question, even if it was, well, at that time what a person was bringing was the capacity to program, but now the capacity to program is kind of a given. So what is the next step on all this? Things like changing to a review kind of
mhm.
interview, like, okay, this is the code, tell me what is happening, or how will you debug a very tricky thing. The problem of that is, of course, it requires interviewers that are more able to drive it, because
Mhm.
I mean, an interviewer for an algorithms do the same algorithm most of the time, or the same five problems that they have listed. But that's why I think that interviewers also need to prepare, right, to bring value, to find the right person to do this.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still not sure what will be the solution. I think that companies are still trying to figure out. In Datadog, we are still trying to figure out. But I think it's fun to, just imagine and talk about something that goes beyond the code, but is still related with delivering things.
I feel like in the last 6 or 7, 8 years, all the tech companies have been like stuck on the Amazon interview process. You know, like you have 7 interview stages, the tech call, then you have live coding, then you have architecture, design systems. Oh my God, everything. In your opinion, what's now the best pipeline? How would you do a pipeline today?
I mean, let me think a bit this through, because Fang has good parts and bad parts, right? I think
Hmm.
that Fang does it because they can, because they have
Yeah.
that many applicants. I don't know if in careers you have such a big volume of applicants, but
No,
then you
we
can
don't even
play
hire.
with it a bit more. And I think that then it's more fun, right? Like, for example, I really like, yeah, I mean, it used to be a coding, but I don't like algorithms coding. I like, okay, this is a problem, or this is a given area of code, extend it or refactor it, or I don't know, try to correct the issues that it has. So I think that that gives you enough information about how someone faces a problem, understands the context, and try to extend it through code. nowadays, right? Like if it's with AI, maybe we need to add some more complexity. Then I always find interesting conversations around system design. In front end, it seems to be a weird practice because
Mhm.
people don't totally understand what is system in design in front end. But from being able to understand that front end doesn't end in the browser, but ends through the API, so they are able to say what information they need and what is the optimal way of receiving that information. Thinking about performance, thinking about how you orchestrate the components or the application. I think that in the front end, this is interesting. In the back end, it's a must, right? For this that you say that even in the future, someone
Mhm.
will be orchestrating on a more infrastructure side or more in a full product overview. So I think that those two, and then in the end, there should always be something that has less tension, like evaluates you for paying you, not for
Mhm.
something that you can learn or that you can practice. So cultural interviews, even though I have mixed feelings about cultural interviews,
I
they're
mean,
not.
they're sort of biased, no? Like they're a little biased towards people who are like extroverted, who are like social, and
Yeah.
tend. I guess this is why you need good interviewers because interviewers tend to like people who are like them. So like men
Affinity bias, right? It's called.
affinity bias. Yeah.
I have mixed feelings, but I really think that when you hire someone, you have to make sure it will fit well in a team. So culture is true that companies have culture and you try to keep it, but in the end, it doesn't work, right? Because that means that any interview process should end up in any team. And teams not always have the same necessities. People are not the same, so they don't always fit. So yeah, my process looks like two interviews and then
Mhm.
one where the candidate and the team understand if they are a fit and they will enjoy working together.
Mhm.
And then that's it. Two interviews. I mean, recruitment is nice, so you save the time from engineers. But in the small companies where you could even, and this is a fantasy that I had, is like, okay, I can risk hiring someone which is in the same city,
Mhm.
6 months probation or probation period, and that's your interview.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah, it's
you
possible.
maybe have to add something so you don't hire the first person that appears, but just look for what is the interview that will tell you this first difference. Like, what are you looking? Diversity? Are you looking into someone that really can lead because you need someone that can grow in that phase? I feel that big companies always miss this part where teams have different necessities, and hence having someone that wants to grow or wants to stay or is more quiet, is more of an executor than,
Yeah.
well, that's what I'm missing. How does it look for you, a perfect interview process?
So I really like giving a home assessment. So I feel like, but more real, like a little bit more complicated. Like it should take you like a week to build, sort of to simulate like a real heavy task that you can do, like a story, let's say in an app. And I also really like, we don't do this, but I would love to do this, that we actually pay the people to solve it. So the
Mhm.
candidate receives money for working on this in the week. They can use AI, they can use whatever they want, and they have to build it as best as they can do it, exactly to simulate a working week, basically, in a way.
Yeah. The only problem that I see with that is it can be unfair because some people have more time than others,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if you have a family, you have your own work, it's really limiting. I mean, you could say, no, no, but you should at least dedicate 4 hours because it's the 4 hours of interviews that we are not doing. So please,
yeah,
you put yourself the time, manage it. That's the only thing I don't like. I really enjoy the home assignments, as you say, like I will pay you for fixing this.
yeah. I think maybe you give it a week time, but it's actually a 3 days task or a 2 day task, and they can do it in the weekend or even longer. I don't know. As you say, it's not perfect, but then you also see who has more time. If you're a startup, you want people who like are more scrappy and hustling. Yeah,
I mean, that's a good point. Like hustling as a yeah, like a feature.
it's a
Or
feature. Yeah, yeah. But I do like the culture fit. We also do a system design as well. We actually take a feature that we build, and then we give the requirements to the person being interviewed. It's actually a job feed. So we take jobs from a third party third party provider, and how would you get them in RDB and in the front end to build everything, front end, back end. And one thing I found, which I don't really like, obviously, we as interviewers like our solution because we built it. The people being interviewed usually give their own solution, and their solution is also very similar to the stack they're working on. So if they're working with like MongoDB, they're going to say, okay, here's where I put the MongoDB database. And then you ask them why, and then they don't know why, like,
That's how you differentiate good candidates from bad candidates,
yeah,
luckily,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah. But that's why I think it's very good. Like it's obviously if we wanted if our stack was super special, we wanted someone who worked on our stack. I think it shows that it has, I don't know, a fit maybe, but you want an overall candidate who can understand and like basically see, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is better, to do trade-off assessment basically.
yeah, that's a human capacity. I mean, AI can help, but taking decisions should be on our hands still. So
But you know what I found weird with interviewing, because I was also interviewing a lot at Glovo, and here there's a lot of cheating involved now. Like, like you go into calls and it's someone else. It's not the person from the CV. It's someone who's being paid to just interview. Or they have now screens that it's already connected with Zoom and listens to everything you're doing. And then on the screen, it tells you the answer. ChatGPT tells you the answer. Like, how do you fight for that? How do you figure out, or do you have some tips?
I mean, from the very beginning, we have a good process to at least know who is the person that we are talking with. So
Hmm.
we have seen at least a photo. We do the homeworks. At least I do the homeworks, and we check so we can do a small like background check before starting everything. But then when it comes to cheating, I think that coding it's unavoidable. Like cheating is there, it's very fast. But in design system, it's true that sometimes people can cheat and like ChatGPT is at the same time. I suspect that some people has done it in some interviews, but then that's as an interviewer, you can be fast switching, right? And you know
Hmm.
that as a conversation goes in ChatGPT, it's more and more biased towards what you are saying. So same thing, like imagine that we change all this now, like screw that, and I don't know, I have a Spanish accent. Maybe the machines still don't get totally what I say, but I think that that kind of things help a lot, like being able to be dynamic on the
Hmm.
interview and evaluate things that, I mean, in the end, you and me, if we have to evaluate something, probably we are going to use ChatGPT. Is that the
Yeah,
target?
yeah,
Is that cheating? If it's what I'm going to do in the work, I think that is a person being able to tell me examples and tell me the reasoning to why something is good or bad. I think that that's good. And if they are cheating with me with ChatGPT, they will need to do it every day on the work. And if they do
yeah.
it every day on the work, I'm fine with them cheating. That's
That's
the truth.
that's a good
I'm
point.
not like I'm not okay with people like faking their identities.
Yeah,
That's totally a no. Like okay, enough.
or
But
people doing like the overhired, or what's it called, movement, where they have like 7 jobs and they always interview for the 8, and then they get fired for 3. They have 3 more. That was a big problem during COVID. Like people were doing this at scale.
yeah, but then you wonder like how much are we really putting attention into what people is delivering and what are we forgetting as EMs because you will realize that someone
Yeah,
is not doing their job, right? You see them.
instantly you see them. Yeah,
So how
but
can
in
people?
big companies it's harder to notice a little bit in some big companies.
Yeah, but I don't know. Datadog is big.
Hmm.
How can I mean I cannot conceive someone in my team not doing their job for one. I mean, it can happen to everyone. We are flexible, but people is not doing
You
their
know.
job. And I wonder if it's the nature of the job that they were doing that is just about people that didn't automate enough of their job.
Mhm.
And then someone just find a way of automating it and is milking. And it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
I agree it's an issue, but I think that it's above us even to do that or to check how to improve that. Legislation is also involved, right?
yeah, yeah. It's
So
basically illegal in some countries to do this. That's cool. And how many interviews do you have now? Like at Glovo, we were doing 4 per week. Are you still doing the same?
it, now it's a low period because it's summer, but yeah, it
Mhm.
can be like 3 hours a week or something like that. I remember in Globo it was a lot, especially on the 2022, which we were hiring like crazy, and that's I really enjoy working on the process. So if you have done the system design in Globo, probably I have worked on that with Mate.
The one where you had the chat and you had to build the chat.
No, the chat is the one that we did to enter.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
But afterwards, we created one that was about a bookstore or e-commerce. I don't know
I
if you
don't
were
remember
part
it.
of that one.
No, no, no. No, I was always doing live coding.
Okay.
So, yeah, at first
But like when it
we
was the
switched it.
refactor, right?
Yes, the second part was the refactor, and the first part it was they had to build the orders, I think. Yeah, the
The orders list, exactly.
order
And
list. Yeah,
I don't know why the hell wasn't it rendering with the updates and so on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
everyone
that
didn't know
movie
how
is
to test.
hardcore. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Have you designed the interviews in Carreras?
Yeah, we do, and like we said, the system design is one of our features. We give a home assessment. Also, we're not paying yet, but it's very small though. We just have for a front end, and you have to build basically a feature that ChatGPT would build it in like 10 minutes.
Mhm.
It's super basic from Figma.
I was thinking that the home assignment then is very prompt to someone doing the homework for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think what I didn't like, I felt like some companies are doing this where they give home assignments for features they need just so they get the features from interviews and not from actual employees.
You should always have a backdoor just in case. And when you can explain it in the interview after they review it, and if they want to use it with the backdoor, it's good.
You know, they do this. There was this security, some hackers from North Korea that were doing this. Like they were reaching out to people on LinkedIn saying they were interviewers for Meta or for Google. And then they were sending a home assessment and people will run that. And then they got access to Google Cloud or AWS because the laptop had access to this. Pretty funny.
I did review. I mean, I have read it in LinkedIn, but yeah, I'm still amazed like how creative we can get in the security era. No, I think that will be interesting to see how it evolves security on applications now with all this AI boom.
Actually, I remember I actually interviewed 3 years ago or something like that to Proton, and they also give you a home assessment. And I was afraid to run it. I was like, maybe this is like their way to test if I actually because
Exactly.
their main thing is security. So I was like, okay. And then I found out you can actually run projects in the terminal with read only, right? So it runs the project, but it doesn't give access to anything else in the terminal, which is pretty cool.
That's a cool tip today I learned.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I open a VM box, VMware, and that's it.
Okay, that's another solution. I didn't think about that.
A bit
Yeah,
overdue, right? But can you run it in a Docker? A Docker should be also closed, right, by default?
yeah, you can run it in a Docker, but then you have to give networking access to the Docker so your browser can open.
Don't give access to Docker. You only evaluate the command line logs. That's it. That's how you know the front end is working.
So, what are some of your favorite books, especially about management? Actually, I've been really into management books recently. What are some of your favorites?
So I really like. Oof, I always forget the title. I have it here. I believe it's this one. Oh, engineering management for the rest of us from Sarah
I
Wagner.
have the same. I have the same book. Actually, that's also my favorite management book.
I really enjoy it because I have been following Sarah Brasner for quite a long time before she was even engineer manager.
Mhm.
And I think that she puts in words a lot of the things that are common sense. And that's a feeling that I have when I read engineering manager books. Is like, no, I mean, of course, this is common sense.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, common sense is there to be practiced as well and to put words and terms to things. It helps you a lot to try to do it in practice. And I think that the other one that I enjoy is this one, Managing Humans.
I don't know that one. Okay.
This one, I read it when I was in PayPal, and it introduced me to the term of managees, which is like the language that managers speak and why it differs from the rest of the engineering team. But it has a lot of anecdotes and examples of with a bit of humor as well, so it helps reading it
Hmm.
about management and why is it difficult, and I really enjoyed. Those are about management. On other lines that are not like management, I really like one that is called the Burnout Society. I have it in Spanish here, but it just talks about that shift, right? Like we were there to enjoy the process and to become better. But nowadays, everything is just about rushing to the next thing and never stopping to enjoy things. And I think that that has been very good to also help people in my team that struggle with burnout or
Hmm.
that could get close to that. So I'm trying to prevent it. Or the other one that I had read recently is The Artist Way. Um, it's a bit more about creativity and it has some touches on religion that I don't really like. Like it's a bit spiritual,
Hmm.
but when you abstract from all that, it's a series of habits that you can do when you are doing a creative job. Like it can be being an engineer, because for me, being an engineer is creative, and how to promote it and do it by yourself, even outside working hours, and enjoy and find and gain joyfulness in the things that you're creating. So
Hmm.
I think that those are my four to go: two for management and two for being a better human, I guess.
Yeah, I really like engineering management for the rest of us. Actually,
Mhm.
it's not even about the content; it's about the book. I feel like the book is so like you can feel it's a book that she put her soul in. It's not like an O'Reilly book or something like this. It's very the illustrations, everything. I really really like it.
She did all the illustrations. She's an amazing artist.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I was super surprised. What is the book that you're reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading Indistractable. It's by the same guy who wrote Hooked,
Okay.
which talks about the habit of and also gamifying and making people love your product. So creating a habit by using your product. He got really famous on this book, and it got used like by Duolingo and everyone. And now he's writing the opposite, saying like, okay, I'm sorry I wrote this book that made people become addicted to the phones. Here is how you become indistractable. So it's a whole.
Like,
I
so I
enjoy
give
it.
you cigarettes and then I tell you how to quit, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. And I really love this year. I read the Unreasonable Hospitality.
I think I have it in my list, but not read it yet.
Yeah, it's about a general manager of a five-star restaurant while they were becoming the best restaurant in the world, and it's really really cool. I think it's one of the inspirations for The Bear. If you see the TV show The Bear,
Yeah.
it's one of them. He was like a producer or something on The Bear. It's actually
Okay.
really cool.
If you recommend it, then I will try to pop it in priorities.
And I also like one about because I'm in a startup now. I really like the startup book about what's it called? Fall in love with the problem and not the solution
Yes.
by
That's
by this co-founder of Waze. I found it to be really really good book.
to be honest, I think that every now and then when you have published one of these photos in Instagram about your new books, I
Mhm.
have copied some of them, and I
Ah,
think that this
nice.
is one of them.
Yeah, I also like fantasy. I think you also like fantasy, right? You read Brandon Sanderson and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Actually, I was about to propose you like, shall we start with the oath? Like, isn't that the thing? Like journey before
Journey Before
destination.
Destination.
So is that the thing, right? Like fall in love with the problem, not with the yeah.
Did you read the new one, the Warbreaker? I think that was
No,
the last one, right?
I don't have the courage to, and I also I don't know. Recently, I bought Forgotten Realms. Is
Forgotten Realm.
the dark elf
Ah, okay,
saga.
okay. I know it. I've never
So
read
dark
it.
elf is only a small part of all the Forgotten Realms. So I don't know. I was thinking this winter, like, okay, I really like this saga. I will read all Forgotten Realms, which is 60 books.
60.
Yeah, 60
Wow.
books. Some of them very bad, to be
Okay.
honest. So I'm trying to find out which are the authors that I like from Forgotten Realms. But I have read like 20 books this year on Forgotten Realms, and I just want to get done. Can be being able to read like Winds of Truth, right?
Okay, Winds of Truth, that not Warbreaker. Winds of Truth. Yeah.
Like
That
I
was
really
it was a good book. Speaking of bad books, one thing I really enjoy is the Jack Reacher novels. Because they're so stupid, they're so predictable. But I don't know, it's an enjoyment. You get
pleasure.
lost in it. Yeah. Guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure.
I really used to enjoy a lot Terry Pratchett because they are usually
Of
like short
course.
books. satirical, like fun to read, but also if you read it right now, you still find examples in society and in television
I
about
love it. I
people.
think it's one of the books that I laughed out loud the most. I think it was Guards from Terry
Uh,
Pratchett. Oh my god, when they're trying to shoot the dragon, I think I was like laughing myself. I had to put the book down and just laugh. That
yeah.
doesn't happen often.
No, no, no. If anybody hasn't read Terry Pratchett, really just go to it and enjoy life again. I
Yeah,
think.
forget engineering management. Just read Terry Pratchett.
If you read guards, you get a very good example of how to manage a group of people that is very
Yeah, that's true.
diverse.
Especially, yeah, old people, lazy people. That's how you get.
Exactly. If you become Sam Bynes, all good as an engineer manager.
Well, thank you, Angel. Thank you for joining me. I think, yeah, so super pleasure talking you about everything from engineering, management, and now fantasy. Yeah, I hope to see you in Barcelona soon. If you're coming, let's grab a beer.
I will try to join one of the meetups of Barcelona.
Okay. Are you next week here? If you're here, we have the meetup on the 15th. Uh,
Which day? That is Thursday. No,
no,
on
no,
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Tuesday.
I will go on Thursday. That's the thing. But
Okay,
still,
next time.
I will find a spot to see you. Thank you very much for inviting me to this. I really enjoy your content as well when you publish in LinkedIn or in Instagram. So
Thank
I
you.
will keep seeing your journey otherwise.
Same, same. Good luck with your conference
Thank you very much.
and
Ciao.
have fun. See you soon.